Hello, I'm Sheryl, and this is Sleep Tight, Relax, a calming bedtime show for the young and young at heart. Our story takes place in a magical village, which holds a yearly Spooky Day festival, which is a time of fun, fright, and celebration. This year, however, the festival becomes a backdrop for a tale of authenticity and connection. Pippin, a once shy pixie, embarks on a journey of self-discovery, inspiring the village with his tale of embracing one's true self. Through his story, many in the village are inspired to share their own tales. The festival becomes a symbol of genuine connections and the powerful magic that arises from being true to oneself. Before we listen to our story, let's get cozy and comfortable and spend some time getting relaxed. Snuggle into your bed and close your eyes. Imagine you are in the magical village on the Spooky Day festival night. Around you are friendly ghosts, glowing pumpkins, and twinkling witch hats. Take a deep breath through your nose, imagining you are smelling the fresh scent of carved pumpkins. Count to 3 as you breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath for a moment and imagine you are floating like a friendly ghost, gently soaring over the festival. Slowly breathe out through your mouth, imagining you're riding a broomstick, letting all the day's worries fly away with the wind. Count to 4 as you breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue this breathing exercise 3 more times, or as many times as you feel comfortable. After our story, we will leave you with the sounds of the festival to lull you into a deep, restful sleep filled with sweet Halloween dreams. The Shy Pixie's Spooky Wish. In the quiet alcoves of a world not quite our own, where the line between reality and magic blurs, there rests a village. Tucked between the embrace of ancient trees and the whispers of hidden brooks, it's a place where gnomes with twinkling eyes and creatures of tales old and forgotten live their everyday lives. The village had an atmosphere that could only be described as alive. Every blade of grass seeming to hum with magical energy, every wind carrying tales of old. In this village, tales were a way to pass down traditions, values, lessons, and simply a cherished form of entertainment that bound the community together. Stories spun through the breeze, passing from one creature to another, creating a tapestry of shared memories and dreams. And it was on one of these evenings, with stars winking in approval, that all were gathered at Fizzlethorpe, the gnome's residence, a quaint house built into the roots of a giant oak. Bumble and Fizzlefire, ever the curious duo, had found themselves in a cozy corner, their eyes wide in anticipation. They were no strangers to tales of wonder, but tonight had a special allure. Perhaps it was the crackling fire or the silvery glow of the moon, but the air felt charged, promising a story that would tug at the heart and soul. Fizzlethorpe, with his age-old wisdom and deep-set eyes, began with a tone both mysterious and kind. In the times not too distant, there lived a pixie named Pippin. The room settled into a hushed silence, every ear straining to catch the story's nuances. Amid the shimmering dewdrops and the radiant morning sun, Pippin would often wander through the vast meadows, his delicate wings catching the first light of dawn. He was unlike any pixie one would imagine. No mischievous grin, no playful pranks. Instead, Pippin's eyes held a depth that most creatures his age wouldn't understand. They were eyes that had seen countless tales unfold, eyes that desired to be a part of a story of their own. Each evening, as the creatures of the magical realm gathered to share stories, Pippin would listen attentively to the ghostly tales that made younglings cover their eyes and elders nod in silent approval. With their airy presence and haunting allure, the ghosts held a charm that Pippin envied. They could make a room grow cold, make voices quiver with a simple whisper. With a mere touch, they could delve into memories, and their eyes, deep pools of ancient wisdom, held the power to glimpse into potential futures. He wished he could have this spooky ability, if only for a day. However, there was a slight hitch in this grand wish of his. Pippin, for all his magical pixie lineage, was shy. It wasn't just that he was quiet or reserved. No, he was the kind of shy that made his voice quiver when he spoke, that made him look at his feet when someone tried to catch his eye. The kind of shyness that made the idea of being spooky seem almost funny. The upcoming Spooky Day Festival was the talk of the village. It was the one day when every magical being showcased their eeriest skills, trying to outdo one another in harmless, spooky fun. And Pippin had a secret wish: to be the spookiest of them all, to feel, even for a moment, the thrill of being the creator of a story, not just its audience. But how could a pixie who hesitated to even voice his opinions hope to spook anyone? How could he, with his soft-spoken words and timidness, ever hope to stand out amid the ghosts of the magical world? Pippin felt sad, but surely he could do it. He might be shy and soft-spoken, but Pippin was not one to give up so easily. And this dream, this wish to be part of the Spooky Day legend, was one he was willing to try and make come true. Within the confines of his cozy woodland home, nestled beneath an ancient elm, Pippin pored over old tomes and scrolls, his room lit only by the soft light of enchanted fireflies in glass jars. The old parchments smelled of age and adventure. As Pippin turned each page, the atmosphere changed, like he was about to discover ancient secrets. It was during one of these nights, with the moon casting silvery light through his window, that he stumbled upon it. Ghastly Grimoire, a guide to ghostly abilities. Its pages were old and fragile, the ink faded in places, but to Pippin, it was a treasure trove, a manual to being a ghost. With an excitement he had rarely felt, Pippin began his lessons. Each spell and incantation was a challenge, demanding both focus and imagination, The first task? Walking through walls. The instructions seemed simple enough, but when Pippin tried, he often found himself either bouncing off the wall or, on one particularly amusing occasion, with half his body stuck in the wall and his legs flailing outside. He was determined, so he moved on to levitation. While the scroll spoke of making objects dance gracefully in the air, Pippin's initial attempts resulted in a room full of floating items bumping into one another, creating a huge mess. A feathered quill drenched his bed in ink, and his favorite teacup took a nosedive, barely saved by his quick hands. Yet, with each mishap, Pippin's determination only grew stronger. Night after night, the little Pixie practiced, each time refining his approach, each time getting a step closer to his ghostly aspirations. The glow-in-the-dark spell, however, came surprisingly easy to him. Maybe it was his innate pixie magic, but soon, Pippin was lighting up like a lantern, casting a blue glow. However, mastering the control was another issue. Sometimes when he'd get too emotional, he'd either light up like a beacon or flicker uncontrollably. Through all the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, Pippin persevered. With each passing day, the gap between his shyness and his spooky aspirations seemed to narrow. The magic was not just in the spells he was learning, but in the transformation he was undergoing. With each success, no matter how small, Pippin's confidence grew. As the days turned to twilight and the Spooky Day Festival drew near, Pippin started to have some doubt. Despite all his training and the magic he'd mustered, he felt his newfound abilities seemed more funny than spooky. One evening, he went for a walk to Moonlit Hill, a quiet place overlooking the magical village. He always enjoyed coming here to think and relax. Sitting there, lost in thought, Pippin barely noticed the soft rustling of leaves or the gentle footsteps approaching him. It wasn't until a timid voice interrupted his thoughts that he looked up. Before him stood a small group of magical creatures, a young gnome with a curious gaze, a fairy whose wings shimmered in the moonlight, and a sprite with a twinkle in his eyes. "We've been watching you, Pippin," began the fairy, her voice soft and melodious. "We've seen you glow, seen things float around you, and once, I think I saw you half inside a wall." Pippin blushed, recalling his not-so-successful attempts at ghostly magic. But rather than teasing him, the young creatures looked at him with awe and curiosity. The sprite added with a giggle, "It was amazing. Can you show us again?" And just like that, the evening took a turn Pippin hadn't anticipated. These young beings weren't looking for the spookiest creature. They were fascinated by his uniqueness, by the magic that was uniquely his. Happy with their genuine interest, Pippin showcased his skills. He glowed, levitated small stones, and with some hesitation, even managed to walk through a small tree trunk. Laughter and gasps of wonder echoed on the hill, transforming a gray evening into bright. As the night came and the first stars began their watch, Pippin realized something. Sometimes, the world's magic doesn't lie in grand gestures or trying to be something you're not. Sometimes the truest magic is in being genuine, in sharing your unique self with those willing to see. The once lonely Pixie, with new friends on that moonlit hill, discovered that the path to true magic wasn't through imitation, but through embracing and sharing his unique essence. The days following that magic night on Moonlit Hill were different for Pippin. The village seemed brighter, the songs of the birds more melodic, and the rustling leaves seemed to whisper tales of encouragement. Pippin found himself reflecting not on how to be scarier or more ghost-like, but on the genuine smiles and awestruck expressions of the young creatures who had been so captivated by his unique magic. During one of his morning walks, he encountered the squirrel he had once tried to spook. Rather than scuttling away in fear, the squirrel approached, chittering excitedly. In its tiny paw, it held a nut, offering it to Pippin as a token of friendship. The gesture made Pippin realize that his attempts at being spooky had, in fact, paved the way for unexpected friendships. As the Spooky Day festival neared, Pippin's earlier anxiety was replaced with an eager anticipation. He didn't need to be the most frightening or the eeriest. He just needed to be himself. He remembered Fizzlethorpe's words from a tale long ago. In the heart of authenticity lies the most potent magic. It wasn't about walking through walls, making objects levitate, or glowing the brightest in the dark. It was about touching hearts, creating moments of wonder, and finding joy in shared experiences. Pippin began preparing for the festival, not with spells from the ghastly grimoire, but with tales of his journey, struggles, and friends he had made along the way. He crafted a space where he could showcase his unique magic and where others could share their stories too. He realized that one's true power lies in embracing and celebrating one's authentic self, which was liberating. And as Pippin looked forward to the festival, he felt truly happy. He had become a storyteller, weaving tales of magic, friendship, and the beauty of being unique. The day had arrived, bathed in hues of oranges, purples, and deep blues, with a hint of mist curling at the edges of the magical village. The air held the scent of pumpkin and autumn spices, mingling with the conversations of creatures ready to showcase their spookiest selves. In the heart of the village, booths and stages sprung up, each one a testament to the imagination of its creator. Phantoms floated, letting out eerie howls, while witches showcased potions that fizzled, bubbled, and sometimes let out a spooky giggle. Dragons playfully blew cool, smoke-ringed breaths, and the mischievous fae flitted about. Pippin's space, however, was unique. A canopy of twinkling lights hung overhead, and a simple, glowing stage was at its center. As creatures approached, Pippin greeted them with his genuine, heartwarming glow, inviting them to share their tales or simply bask in the magic of shared stories. As the evening deepened, Bumble and Fizzlefire, having witnessed spectacles of all kinds, were drawn to Pippin's realm. The tales told there had a different kind of magic. They listened as a timid sprite shared her story of finding her voice, and a young centaur spoke of his first gallop beneath the moon. But it was Pippin's story that captivated all. With a voice filled with emotion, he recounted his journey, his yearning to be spooky, his comical mishaps, the friends he made, and the realization of the power of authenticity. In the world of magic, where wonders were aplenty, the Spooky Day Festival would be remembered not for its scares, but for the heartwarming tales and the little Pixie who taught the village the true meaning of magic. The festival had always celebrated the external manifestations of spookiness. Still, that year, thanks to Pippin, it celebrated the internal magic of authenticity, bravery, and friendship. As dawn broke, marking the end of the Spooky Day Festival, a changed atmosphere enveloped the village. This year's festival was more than just fun and frights. It celebrated genuine connections and stories. Pippin's tale of authenticity inspired many to share their stories, creating a sense of community like never before. The once lonely Pixie's home became a gathering spot for sharing tales and experiences. His story reminded everyone of the true magic in being genuine and authentic to oneself. In this magical world, it was clear that the strongest magic came from sincere hearts. If you are still awake, I would like you to whisper to yourself or just say it in your mind. In this spooky village, I am safe, surrounded by friendly spirits and ready for magical dreams. I can make a big difference, whether small or shy. I am magical just the way I am. My uniqueness is my strength. I am calm, relaxed, and peaceful. Sleep tight